compensation, salary, bonus structures, rev share, equity, etc., etc., etc. Yep, you gotta pay people for their work. I know, that's just how it works. And you gotta pay rock stars even more. And even though it might seem like a scary thought when you're just getting started, figuring out how to properly compensate your team is worth it. But before you get sticker shock from some of the salary requirements being thrown around during the interview process, just know that there are so many more things to think about when it comes to paying your employees rather than just what their checks look like every 2 weeks. Creating the proper incentive structure for your employees and your company can seem like a very daunting task. It's time consuming and it's scary if you've never done it before. But that's exactly why you need to do it. I'm Josh, the founder of Upright Media and the host of Press Refresh, and today I'm talking to you about how to properly incentivize your team so there's alignment, motivation, and excitement to jump in and start smashing goals. Since the creator economy is still so new, there isn't necessarily a playbook for any of this. Nothing is standard, so you're in good company. And each business has their own process and comp structures that work for them. It's a challenge, but it's definitely worth tackling early on. There are a couple recurring problems that I see when it comes to properly aligning on incentives. From the leadership side, it usually boils down to a lack of understanding or experience in creating a proper incentive structure for the business. And from the employee side, sometimes there's a general lack of understanding on how to negotiate or how to properly calculate the employee's own value. A lot of times they come in asking for a big salary, but don't know how to justify why they are worth that. Obviously, in order to move forward and make sure there's proper alignment, both the employee and the company need to understand the parameters in which the company is working. For example, are you just getting started and need someone to come in and help take you from 0 to 1? Or are you forecasting a 7-figure year and you have the budget for a more senior leadership position? Whatever the case, it's not good enough just to feel good about starting a relationship when adding someone to your team, but you should feel excited about it. In my opinion, a good incentive structure should be tied to both quantitative and qualitative goals, so you're not only aligning on what growth looks like, but how to build the best possible culture with the best possible people. If there is not operational clarity or a sense of purpose in the work being done, it can throw things out of whack pretty quick. And I think we can all agree, that sucks. Okay, so here are some scenarios that I see regularly within the creator economy. First, the creator doesn't have enough money to pay someone properly, but promises the candidate that they'll grow within the organization and that their comp will increase as the channel starts doing better. Number two, a creator is in a tough spot and needs someone to join the team ASAP, so they're willing to rush through the hiring process without proper vetting, sometimes putting a person on the team for the wrong reasons. Number three, a creator does not have a set of realistic KPIs for their employees before they start working, so neither the employee nor the creator understands what success looks like. Number four, a creator has built a company from 0 to 1, but has a lot of employees complaining about being underpaid and burning out. And number five, a creator gives one employee, often their friend, a pretty crazy good salary and or bonus schedule, and then has less money to incentivize the rest of the team. And number six, a creator scales the company to the point of needing to bring in senior leadership, but then pays that senior leadership a disproportionate amount, creating a very top-heavy org. Now, there are other scenarios, but these are the ones that I'm going to cover in this episode. Getting your incentives right is one of the most important things that you can do to attract and retain rockstar employees. This isn't something you're going to figure out one time and then it's set for the life of your business either. Your incentive structure will likely evolve along with your business. So let's explore. So first of all, the creator doesn't have enough money to pay someone properly, but promises the candidate that they'll grow within the company. I get it. We all got to start somewhere, okay? But an employee cannot pay their bills or forecast where they will be financially based on promises. All right, their landlord does not care about their cool new startup job, as awesome as it might be. You gotta give them something real. In this scenario, you might want to bring somebody on at a smaller salary, but then give them equity. You could also think about stair-stepping their salary every 6 months or so for the first 3 years based on hitting certain goals. i.e., you're gonna start at $66,560 per year, which is the current exempt salary in California. But if your contributions can get us to X views per month for 2 consecutive quarters, we will raise you to Y. That way the employee has some security knowing that they have a steady path to growth for the next 3 years. Another option would be a simple bonus plan tied to view goals. Say your channel is getting, 500,000 views per video on average. At a $5 RPM, it's about $2,500 per video. And if you're uploading once a week, that's around 2 million views and around $10,000 per month. All right, not bad. You don't have a ton of money, but you're making money. Like, that's awesome. Congrats, you got to that point. Okay, so think about this. If you're making $10,000 a month and you set aside 30% of that, you set $3,000 aside for a bonus pool and say, hey, if you can get the monthly views to 4 million views per month, I'll give you that 3K. So if they hit that goal every month, they will get an additional $36,000 per year, putting them at $102,560, so they're happy. And then you just made an additional $120,000 in top line revenue that year with little additional risk, so you're happy. And theoretically, if you're uploading better quality content more consistently, you will likely see even more than that before the end of the year. And then you have to set new goals going into the new year so you can keep growing. Number 2, a creator's in a tough spot and needs someone to join the team ASAP, so they're willing to rush through the hiring process without proper vetting, sometimes putting the wrong person on the team for the wrong reasons. Just don't do this. All right, never hire someone just because there's an open position. The risk of misalignment is way too high across the board, and if they end up failing you, well, you'll have to let them go, and then you just wasted a ton of time and money that you could have used on incentivizing the right person. There are certain things that you should absolutely not rush, and hiring is one of them. Turnover is arguably one of the most disruptive and costly things that can ever happen to a business. All right, so you want to make sure that you're properly vetting people, spending as much time as you need finding the right person, and when you have the right people, you will be excited to figure out their incentives. And you will definitely have to come up with some bespoke solutions for candidates who are either bringing very specific skills or you need them to do very specific things. If you need an army of one to come in and run your short form production and increase viewership across YouTube Shorts and TikTok while also getting you on Snapchat, well, you probably want to have their incentives heavily tied to those things. However, if this person is also supposed to come in and recruit and then train the team and then delegate the tasks to them, you'll likely want their bonuses based on how well the team does as a whole. All right, so let's go back to the list. A creator doesn't have a realistic set of KPIs for their employees before they start working. If an employee doesn't know what success looks like when joining your company, they won't have a full understanding of how to unlock even more earning potential. And if a creator doesn't know what success looks like for their business or what targets they need their employees to hit to achieve success, then they won't know how to create proper performance-based incentives. You need targets, you need goals, you need tangible things that somebody can get and understand. All right, so is that views and revenue? Are there contributions growing the channel in those ways? Is it subscriber growth? Hey man, I need you to add 10% new subscribers month over month. Is it content syndication? Are you trying to get them on different platforms? Is it increased AVD and CTR? Are they top line drivers or are they focused on increasing EBITDA? These are all things that are critical to understand, so you need to understand them. This is a great time to talk about non-monetary incentives. Incentives don't always have to be tied to money. They can be tied to mentorship and growth, or they can be tied to, a title and responsibility. If your employee sees your company as a way to get them into a position of leadership with more responsibility and prestige, you need to know how to get them there. I like to ask candidates what their ultimate goals are and where they would be if they could wave a magic wand. Because if you're able to take the time to create the roadmap to get them to that magical place, that shows that you are committed to their success and is usually very appreciated. If you invest in your employees' success, they will invest a lot more time into helping you build your business. Next up, a creator has built a company from 0 to 1, but has a lot of employees complaining about being underpaid or burning out. Unfortunately, this one happens a lot, and it's super avoidable. So this one happens when there's a lack of long-term thinking from the company's leadership, and that starts when the company is small. Like when you're small and you're just thinking about plugging holes, it's like, I need an editor over here, I need a producer, I need a thumbnail artist. All right, everyone's in place, cool, go. We'll figure it out as we move. But you never slow down, so you'll never actually be able to figure it out. You need to take the time to do that up front. All right, to quote Jim Collins, if we get the right people on the bus, the right people in the right seats, the wrong people off the bus, then we'll figure out how to take it someplace great. You need to have the people in the right seats before you start moving, and that includes their incentives. And then also from there, think about where the bus is going. That is another critical step here, because when there's alignment and the team knows where the bus is going, it takes a lot of the work off of your plate. You don't have to be paying everyone a fortune right now, okay? But you should at least have an outline on paper that can be as simple as, when we do X, it triggers Y. And Y is new compensation. And that can be in the form of bonuses, promotions, rev share, equity, whatever. But you need to have that outline. The next scenario. A creator gives one employee, often their friend, a crazy good salary and/or bonus schedule, and then has less money to incentivize the rest of the team. I'm gonna get real with you right now. Just because someone is your friend does not make them a rockstar employee. And just because someone has seen you through your lows and helped you reach your highs does not mean that they understand how to be a good employee within your business, or that they even understand your business. If your friend needs any amount of training to understand how to make content, I recommend that they go through the exact same interviews, the same goal setting, and the same performance-based incentives as the rest of your team. Of course, there are plenty of stories of people who have built companies with their friends, and there are plenty of YouTubers who have hired their friends and created wildly successful businesses together. And you know what? If you have a friend like that, hell yeah. But just know that that is not the norm, that those partnerships are the outliers. Also, employees will talk, okay? They might say they won't, but everyone talks. And there is nothing more demoralizing to a group of worker bees than knowing that someone else is getting an insane amount more money to do the same work. So your friend, who is getting handsomely compensated, had better be pulling a heavy amount of weight. I would strongly suggest a lower salary with performance-based bonuses or rev share based on growth. If you leave it uncapped, give them a smaller percentage, leave it uncapped, the earning potential can be really attractive. And if your friend is a killer, they will do anything to hit their targets and make that percentage grow. But if you're true co-founders, I would suggest that this person have an equity stake that matches their contribution. Have a long, hard talk about expectations before committing, all right? Nothing can sour a friendship faster than one person feeling like they have to manage the other's expectations if they haven't been discussed. Misalignment and a falling out of co-founders can be detrimental. And at this point, you may be thinking, man, I wish this were easier. Well, if it were easy, it would be called easy, not leadership. And then finally, a company scales to the point of needing to bring in senior leaders, and then they spend a disproportionate amount on those people, creating a top-heavy org. So there is a certain point where you may need to bring in senior leadership. That's awesome. That could be because of multiple things. Maybe you're scaling your content output, or you're launching new products or channels, or you have a growing team and you just kind of need help managing. Whatever the case, if you bring in a senior leader, I would recommend a few things. First, create a budget that you feel comfortable with and do not spend more than that. And then sit down with them and go over what they think their department KPIs should be and collaborate with them on any performance-based incentives for their team members. Okay, so this way, their incentives are tied to their department's goals. So for example, a post-production supervisor may earn bonuses if she's able to keep the average cost of a video under X dollars per video. And then make sure that they're taking care of their team and that their team is properly incentivized as well. If the goal is output, then their quarterly bonuses or annual raises should be based on that and not just some arbitrary increase to account for inflation. So look, if your team is able to increase the output by 20% and the channel revenue goes up by 30% because the watch time hours are increasing, give them a little bit of that, man. A little bit of that goes a long way. Incentives definitely get more complicated as your company grows. So you will want to reassess your strategy every 3 to 6 months while you're in your growth stage. And definitely loop your bookkeeper or CPA into the conversation so they can guide you and help you make the most effective choices with your money. And ensure you don't accidentally put yourself in a bad spot by trying to attract one good employee. At the end of the day, you want your people to be happy and understand what success looks like. Proper alignment on incentives will start you off on the right track, and if you give someone a path to make enough money that they no longer need to think about making money, all that brain power that they would use worrying about paying their bills will go to strategizing on how to make their department and your company the best on the planet. I hope you found this useful. If there are any other pieces of advice you would like, let me know in the comments, and your suggestion could be a future episode. And if you found this episode helpful, please also hit the like and subscribe buttons, click that notification bell, and we will talk to you next time. Thank you.